everyone. Thanks for joining today's session. Today I have with me Shruti Harish, Senior Director, Azure Data and AI, Microsoft Customer Success Team for West Midwest region. Shruti, thank you so much for joining this session. You are one of the top AI leaders, and I definitely wanted to get in touch with you to get your insights on AI and how you've been scaling your team. Because this video that we are, the meeting that we are hosting today, we would want to upload it to manage the docs community so that other leaders can also benefit from your insights.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Akash.
Cool. So I have a few questions for you. We can start with the top one. That have you witnessed success with AI experiment, any kind of AI experiment for your teams? Would you like to share that with us?
Absolutely. Thank you, Akash. So I lead a organization of cloud solution architects. And so what my team does is we work with our customers every day in order to innovate their business processes and to help them accomplish their outcomes for where they want to drive their innovations. And one of the things that I feel like that AI has allowed my team to create is these applications that helps us be more relevant to our customers. So as soon as the OpenAI, Azure OpenAI announcement came out, our team quickly built this application that can be used basically by anyone in Microsoft. And it allows us to quickly put in, a customer's name, understand the business that they're in, the industry they're in, and to generate use cases. And so it allows our team to be more relevant in our customer discussions. It helps us as a team understand the customer's business and their challenges better. And the most important part is when we work with our customers, we can also share insights on the industry and where the industry is headed. So if they're not thinking about it, their competition is thinking about it. And so it allows us to be much more agile. And so just to take it back, I feel like AI has allowed us to be very agile in how we adopt and innovate our own internal teams and processes, help us do our jobs better, help our customers have better impact.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. So there's a lot of hype around AI. Have you seen material productivity gains with the use of AI? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question. Akash, I feel like we're just starting to scratch the surface on this stuff, right? Like, yeah, we've started it now. And have we reached the extent of tapping into the full potential? Not even close, right? So it's going to take us several iterations before we can articulate what the impact is. But where I am today, I'm seeing examples every day. Last week I was sick. I wasn't able to attend probably, 10 meetings a day for the 3 days that I was sick. But instead of me spending that many hours catching up on recordings, I could look at the recap. I could open the slides. I could find my own ways of catching up on the work that I missed. It allows me and employees like myself to have a better work-life balance, which means I didn't have to work when I was sick. I can come back and catch up. Today, I was in a situation where I had two meetings to be on at the same time. I attended one meeting for 15 minutes. I joined another meeting halfway through. I opened up Copilot and I said, please, can you recap the meeting for me now? And it gave me those few things that were discussed, the action items that were already taken. And so I feel like I have a better sense of what I missed halfway through the meeting. So that's just two tactical examples from my own experience. But the biggest thing that I see AI is doing today is it's creating and generating excitement. And everyone now wants to figure out, how do I make my life better with AI? It's sparking that thought process, it's sparking conversations with each other. And we have a forum now where we're starting to put our ideas of how we've used AI in our day-to-day lives. And it's in this big group chat with all of our leadership jumping in and providing their insights. So it's also allowing us to share better stories of how the impact is driven. So I feel like there's a lot of talk about productivity gains, which absolutely there is. AI is just faster, better at coming to insights. Things like, note taking can be designated to AI. You never have to take notes again. Have AI send out the notes after a meeting. But more important than that, I think it really allows employees to thrive, have a better work-life balance. Maybe you can go wrap up a meeting early and take a walk for 10 minutes and then come back and pick up on actions and insights. Things like that, I think we sometimes underestimate. the positive impact of, I think, for an employee work-life balance thriving, obviously tied to productivity, but productivity through the balance of well-being and saving time for employees.
Wow, those were some great insights. And especially, I like the fact that you shared your personal experience. You shared something that you said tactical, but actually that makes a big impact in how we are conducting our business and how we can maximize what we do by being so effective at our work. So thank you so much for being able to sort of say that, hey, you know what, you don't need to be in one place. Today you can be in two and still be effective, which is so hard. So great examples. Thank you so much for sharing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
The other one that leads me to, based on what you're saying, is about how will the whole generative AI affect our industry in the short and longer term?
How will it affect our industry in the short and longer term? Like I said, I think it's going to affect everything we do in every industry, right? And it's not about like where we are today. I don't even think we have an idea of where we will be in 5 years with AI. We simply cannot, because you had the OpenAI Developer Day announcements yesterday. Like the team is already excited. Like I can't wait to get my hands on the new technology. And so we don't even know what the technology can do in 2 months, let alone 2 years from now. So I feel like it's all about being able to be innovative, embrace change, embrace the unknown, but also become very intentional around where am I going to use this technology that has the best for me for this year, for next year, and where I want to innovate, right? So we believe in that three horizon roadmap in how at least my team works with our customers. And so that's where we want to apply AI to that same three horizon model, right? Like how are we going to innovate today and where do we want to go tomorrow and how do we get, and different companies are in different levels of maturity with AI. So I would start with identify the business problems that you want to solve, right? And put a timeline around that. What do I want to solve today? What do I want to solve this year? And what do I want to solve next year? And that's how the industry trends will catch up, because it's based on the level in which you, your team, your business is ready to innovate with AI.
Yeah, and that's so true, because what you just gave as an example or guidance is going to be useful for the leaders, because a lot of people are trying to figure out how should they use AI. They are all interested in doing it, but they are
Yes.
not very sure how do we start, how do you scale, what are the things that you can do to experiment with. So you've given some very good examples that probably people can just toy with and then play around and then see how they can take it to the next level. Thank you so much. I'm going to pick on
Absolutely.
one of the words that you said about uncertainty. Uh, how can we ensure that AI systems are ethical? Because a lot of
Mm.
things are uncertain. We don't even know how some of them are hallucinating and what they are doing. So, how can we ensure that these systems are ethical, fair, they're transparent, and can be held accountable for what is being put out by these systems to our
Yeah.
customers, to our employees?
Yeah. It's the $1 million question, right? I think the most brilliant question that we can come up with given this age of AI and everything that we're doing. And believe it or not, like I have talked to, high school kids, I've talked to elementary school kids, and they have the similar questions, and it's just creating that spark of excitement amongst them. My take on it is it boils down to three things in my mind. It's awareness, it's responsibility, and it's action. And I want to talk on that because, I think ultimately it boils down to everyone has a responsibility with AI. Everyone who touches AI, everyone who uses AI, everyone who is creating AI solutions for the world today has a responsibility. You always want to ask yourself, like, what's the consequence of if this information is wrong, if it's incorrect, what's the consequence of that? And how do I make sure that I, as a company, as an organization, can have mitigation measures in place to avoid and de-risk those things, right? So it comes down to making sure that you need to drive awareness at all levels in the organization for those that are creating AI, those that are using AI, and create your feedback loops, because you want to know if there's a failure, you want to know right away, and you want to know how to make your products better. So you want to create that feedback loop. That's where the action comes. You have to make sure that you're holding your team accountable for action. Ultimately, it boils down to creating an AI responsible culture. And of course, it comes down to those three things. But also, I've seen many companies, and even Microsoft has an Office of Responsible AI. So you could designate that authority, you designate that control and that access to understanding what are the policies you need to have in place. How are you going to disseminate the information? How are you going to make sure you're holding the right players accountable for the things that they need to be building? And so it takes all of us to come together to hold everyone accountable, and we're all going to be learning. It's a learning curve for everybody. The Office of Responsible AI has been instituted like this year. They don't have years and years of like, hey, this is where we were last year and this is what we did. So everyone is learning, and therefore that education and that awareness becomes important. The culture becomes important, and being willing to be comfortable when you may not know all the answers is also important. And yeah, I think that's the way I look at it.
Thank you so much. I think that's a wonderful thought, that saying that it's all of us who will have to drive it together. It's not one person's job. So we can keep it ethical, we can keep it fair, we can, and if we are accountable. So I think
Exactly.
that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, we have made this, and
Yeah.
we have to ensure that we let it thrive and work with it. So thank you so much for really guiding us and sharing your wonderful thoughts. That brings me to the end of the session. Thank you so much for spending time and sharing your thoughts with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Sure.